Paddy Pimblett says the only reason fighters signed to PFL is to try to win $1 million off of easier fights. Paddy said, of course, it would have been a tougher decision. I was looking at walking away from MMA at 4-1 because I wasn't getting paid enough. I was going to quit MMA when I was 18. I was getting paid like $500 a fight, something stupid like that. It wasn't enough. So I can understand a lot of fighters right now that are going to PFL and going to Bellator. But if you've got a dream that you want to be in the UFC, which I think 99 out of 100 MMA fighters' dream is to be in the UFC, no one gets up in the morning and goes, I want to fight for Bellator, or I want to fight for the PFL. The only reason people go to PFL is to try to win the $1 million with easier fights. Michael Bisping on the Believe You Me podcast discusses the outrage from MMA fans on the notion of Jorge Masvidal getting a title shot prior to the Gilbert Burns fight. Bisping says MMA fans are quick to write a fighter off.
I guess it kind of does taint his ability and the respect Gilbert would get for beating him. That's a solid win. Masvidal's not an easy fight for anyone on the planet, but a lot of laymen might look and go, oh, well, he lost his last 3. And I sometimes would say, before the Colby fight was announced, I would love it if it was Masvidal because of the backstory against Leon and all the rest of it. People go, you're crazy. He's lost 3 in a row. And it's like, yeah, but hold on a minute. The man had a great career and he's got the backstory. So people are quick to write people off. You've got to remember, it was Colby in a decision, Kamaru in a decision, all right, and then Kamaru caught him with a clean shot.
One finish, but whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat. Like, that was a barn burner, razor close fight, and Masvidal was in there. You know, it wasn't a close fight with Gilbert Burns, but I mean, he was in there till the end. He didn't get finished. Gilbert Burns almost finished Khamzat. You know, if there had been,
everybody says if there was 2 more rounds, he'd have got the job done.
Right. So you still got to give your hat off to Masvidal for staying in there, hanging in there. Of course, he's aging. He's getting a little bit older. He doesn't have the same pop he used to have. But a guy that took Khamzat to the cleaners a couple times, he was able to stay in there with him for 3 rounds and stay safe for the most part.
Max Holloway is confident that a 4th fight with Alexander Volkanovski happens. Max also reveals the one MMA fight he wants before he hangs up the gloves. Speaking to MMAfighting.com, Max said, I think so long as Volk's fighting and I'm doing what I'm doing and he's doing what he's doing, I'm sure the 4th fight is going to line up somewhere. I don't know if it's at 45, I don't know if it's at 55, I don't know where it is. I think that fight is very reachable. I think we'll fight each other again down the line at some point, 100%. So at the end of the day, that's not really far off. But if he's asking me to give me a fight, I would love to fight Conor McGregor. I was the only guy that took Conor to a decision at 45. I know he wants to come back, but that'd be a fight that would be super interesting, super fun. A lot of questions. There's a lot of unknowns because we're just 2 different fighters from who we were back then. And I think it'd be a fan favorite. I think a lot of fans would love that fight. A lot of fans have been asking for that fight, so we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, it's not a weight thing, bro. I'll fight him open weight. Whatever the commission would tell us. Just show up to the weight, bro. Like, you don't have to worry. I just love to go out there and test it. We've got to be close to each other, I guess, because all this commission stuff. But we could take it to UFC 1 rules and we'll just show up and just fight. Why not? Dana White shows off where he hangs out at his house in Vegas.
It is an absolutely perfect night tonight in Vegas. Weather's perfect. You gotta enjoy these while you got them. It's gonna be 150 pretty soon.
Ahead of his bare-knuckle boxing match this weekend against Mike Perry, Luke Rockhold is relieved to not be signed to the UFC. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Luke said, I kind of wanted to see other things. I was just tired of the UFC and dealing with them. I needed a break. My legs have been tortured from fighting, so I needed to change it up. I'm definitely still very interested in combat sports, but the UFC and its structures, it wasn't for me at the time. We'll see how I like it, but I think there are a lot of other options out there for me too, so I'm not going to be handcuffed myself to one thing like the UFC. That was the thing that kind of takes the fun out of it. There are so many avenues now with boxing exhibition fights. You can go out there and pick off who you want for what you want and get everyone intrigued and excited at the same time. It's just something that keeps me going. Getting stuck in that revolving door of the UFC and then picking and choosing for me, it's like, no, it's not for me. I've done that shit. Josh Thomson and John McCarthy on the Weighing In podcast preview Luke Rockhold versus Mike Perry this weekend. The fight is taking place at 175 pounds, and Josh and John wonder how Luke will ever cut down to that weight, considering how lean he was cutting to 185 in the UFC.
I do notice that the fight is at 175, and
that's the part that I go, oh.
Yeah, he's so lean as it is. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say he struggled to make 85, but there was moments where He obviously
It
didn't
wasn't
like
easy
it.
at times.
And another 10 pounds is ridiculous. I'm surprised, though. I'm surprised that Luke didn't try to get to 80 and say, like, hey, you know what? You used to fight at 70. Why go to 75? Let's make weight at 80 and just call it good. That's right in the middle. I mean, but the money must have been too good. I just wonder how it's going to affect his chin. Both of them, or not him, but Luke, how it's going to affect his chin, cutting that amount of weight. If he even makes the weight, do you just take the loss on the L?
That's the whole thing.
But then again, does Mike Perry even take the fight if he doesn't make weight?
That's right. That is a question. If there's one area in this fight that I go, man, Luke making that weight, I'm amazed if he can make that weight. Luke went up to the light heavyweight, Josh. There was reasons why. Okay, if making middleweight was so easy, why did you go up? I think Mike Perry is meant for BKFC. I think he's got the look. He went through somebody with the length and size, we'll say, to a point as far as length and tallness. When he fought MVP, and Perry made it nasty, ugly, grimy, and that's what he's got to do with Rockhold. So I look at it and I go, yeah, he can give Luke Rockhold problems in this. I'm in that position. I don't think Luke's gonna walk over Mike Perry.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna walk over him either. I think just Luke needs space to work.
Yes.
And Mike Perry inside that dirty box is gonna give him a little bit of problem. I'm really interested to see why they agreed on this 175.
Nate Diaz has turned himself into police following his altercation with the Logan Paul lookalike last weekend. New Orleans police issued an arrest warrant on Monday. Diaz was officially booked today at 7:40 a.m. CT. He was already released after posting a $10,000 bond. Nate's representative, Zach Rosenfeld, gave a statement to MMA Junkie. He said Nate voluntarily turned himself into the New Orleans Police Department this morning at approximately 7:10 a.m. CT. We continue to look forward to presenting all the evidence and videos that show Nate was acting in self-defense. Rosenfeld also told MMA Junkie that Nate posted bond with full permission from the court to resume travel, which includes returning to Stockton today. If found guilty, Diaz can face up to 8 years in prison and or a $2,000 fine, which is the penalty in Louisiana for second-degree battery. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post future ones. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Zex2156. Says Izzy wants Duplessis to win so bad, but he's gonna end up fighting the Reaper for a 3rd time. The second one says since the Chimaev fight, Burns is doing everything right. Hope he gets the next title shot. And the final one's from The Joke. It says Jared Gordon took Paddy's shine away. No one was expecting that. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured on the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. If you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen to get caught up. And make sure to go subscribe to our second channel where we post our exclusive MMA interviews.